let's talk about prayer for a second. Have you ever felt like it could be, well, more than just saying words? What if it was an actual journey, an adventure even? Today, we're going to dive into the Carmelite tradition, and you'll see how they view prayer not as a duty, but as this profound invitation to explore a whole inner world. Okay, let's just start right here, because this quote from St. Teresa of Avila changes everything. Get this. She uses words like friendship and conversing in secret. Right away, this flips the script. We're not talking about a formal obligation anymore. This is about an intimate, ongoing conversation with someone who loves you. It's a huge idea, and it's really the key to everything we're about to explore. So, that's the million-dollar question, right? It sounds incredible, friendship with God. But what does that actually look like day to day? How does it work in the real world? All right, let's break it down. First things first, we've got to get our heads around the core concept. For the Carmelites, prayer is like an inner fountain. It's the source that literally nourishes every other part of your life. And here's the part you absolutely have to get. It's a living relationship. Seriously, think about your best friend. That relationship isn't just a thing you do once a week, right? It grows, it changes, you share stuff. That's the model. So prayer isn't a task on a checklist. It's a relationship you live in. They even call it the essential breath of the soul. Wow, this metaphor really hits home, doesn't it? Think about it. A garden without water doesn't just look a little droopy. It becomes barren. It dies. It can't produce any fruit. The point here is that a life without that deep inner connection, no matter how busy or good you are on the outside, is eventually going to dry up. It's missing that one thing it needs to truly flourish. And this is where it gets really practical. We all know the incredible things Mother Teresa did. But what's fascinating is that she was absolutely clear. Her work was just the fruit of her inner life. That daily hour she spent in prayer wasn't time taken away from the poor. It was the very thing that gave her the strength and love to serve them. It was literally the water for her garden. Okay, so if prayer is this life-giving relationship, the next logical question is, how does it grow? Well, this is where it gets cool, because the Carmelites actually map it out. They see it as a journey, with some pretty clear stages. And this is where we get this amazing image from St. Teresa of Avila, the interior castle. Just picture your soul as this huge, beautiful castle with all these different rooms or mansions. The whole journey of prayer is about moving from the outside walls, deeper and deeper in, getting closer and closer to the very center of the castle, because that's where God is waiting. It gives us a kind of a roadmap for this inner world. Now, you don't just wander aimlessly through this castle. There's a path. It usually starts at the gates with vocal prayer, using words we already know to kind of get the conversation going. Then you move deeper into mental prayer, which is that quiet, personal back and forth. The path leads you even further inward to the prayer of recollection, where you're really focusing inward. And then, finally, you reach the center, which is contemplative prayer. And that is a whole different ballgame. Okay, pay attention here because this is a really crucial distinction. See, in those first stages, it's a lot about our effort. We're thinking, we're talking, we're focusing. But contemplative prayer is different. It's not something you do or achieve. It's a gift you receive. You shift from actively striving to just passively resting in love. And look at this. The leadership changes. We stop taking the lead, and God takes the lead. It's a total role reversal. So you've probably heard this phrase, dark night of the soul, and maybe you think it sounds kind of scary, like depression or something. And yeah, it can feel really tough. But in this context, St. John of the Cross sees it as something powerful and necessary. It's like a purification, a process that strips away all our normal ways of thinking and feeling about God so that we can finally experience Him in a much deeper, more direct way. So we've got the map, we know the destination, but how do we actually make the journey? This isn't just for spiritual superstars. St. Therese of Lisieux talked about her little way, showing how anyone can do this. So the question is, what are the practical tools we need? What keeps us moving forward on the path? Well, the Carmelite tradition boils it all down to 3 essential pillars. And think of these less as rules and more as, workout routines for the soul. They're practical habits that create the space for this friendship to actually grow. So let's look at each one. Pillar number 1, interior silence. And no, this doesn't mean you have to go live in a cave somewhere. It's about building a quiet little space inside yourself, an inner cell in your heart.
Our world is so noisy and distracting. This is about intentionally carving out a sanctuary where you can actually tune out the noise and listen for that quiet whisper.
The second pillar is Lectio Divina, or divine reading. Now, this is not Bible study in the academic sense. You're not just trying to learn facts. It's an encounter. So you start by reading a passage, then you meditate on it, you chew on it, you ask what it's saying to you. That leads you to pray, to talk back to God about it. And finally, you just rest in His presence. That's contemplation. It's a beautiful process that takes God's word from your head and plants it right in your heart. And that brings us to the third pillar, which kind of ties it all together. The ultimate goal here isn't to just have a special prayer time that's separate from your real life. The goal is to weave that inner friendship into everything you do. There was this famous Carmelite friar, Brother Lawrence, who said he felt just as close to God washing dishes in a loud kitchen as he did in chapel. Every single action can become a prayer. And boom, we're right back to Mother Teresa. This is exactly what she was doing. Her time in silence and prayer is what allowed her to look at someone in need and see Christ in what she called a distressing disguise. Her work wasn't separate from her prayer. Her work was her prayer, spilling out into the world. It's the perfect picture of this third pillar in action. All right, so we've talked about the journey, the castle, the tools, but what's the whole point? What's the summit of this mountain we're climbing? Where does this entire path lead? I just love this quote. It completely flips the script on how we think about prayer. We usually think it's all about us searching for God, us trying to reach Him. But this says the first move actually comes from God. He thirsts for us. Our own desire for Him is really just our response to His invitation. And that's really what it all boils down to. The Carmelite path isn't a set of rules. It's an answer to a call. It's an invitation to say yes to God's desire for you and to step into a relationship so deep and real that it totally transforms you from the inside out. The goal isn't just about becoming a better person. It's about this incredible, loving union with the source of all life itself. So after seeing this whole map of the inner world, the fountain, the castle, the pillars, there's really only one question left, and it's for you. This isn't just some ancient spiritual system. It's a living, breathing invitation being offered right now. So, where does your inner journey begin?